The plan is to rebuild this Planet X Spitfire. Currently it's got a titanium frame. I think it's made by Walty in China. And what I want to do is recover all of the components, Campan group set, and put them onto a carbon frame I've got and rebuild this with slightly easier gearing. And I want to do it as cheaply as possible, which probably means using a lot of Chinese components. So it will be a full Chinese build almost. Anyway, just for information, the frame's 1500 grams and the forks are 350 grams, giving a total of 1850 grams. And the whole bike weighed 8.5 kilograms when I weighed it, as you can see here. And the frame originally cost me £549. It was in a sale, very good deal indeed. I got some wheels off Craigslist, or the equivalent in France. Fulcrum, very nice. The person who hadn't used them much. The only thing I noticed was he'd broken two spokes here and replaced them with just standard spokes rather than the bladed spokes. Another problem for me. They cost me €80. Good price. I've put on a Campag 105, 12, I think it's 12 or 13, 34 sprocket, and I put on 28mm Continental 3 tyres. Here we go. Continental Ultra Sport 3 tyres. 28mm, they're about 27 on these rims, as I showed in another video. That's because the rims have quite a narrow internal width. And inside I've used TPU tubes, 36 grams, to save a bit of weight. They're not the lightest TPU tubes, but they should be a little bit more robust than the very lightest ones. You can get them at 18 grams, I think. They're incredible. Forget about tubeless, use TPU, much less fuss. And the first thing I want to do is put on a bottom bracket. It's DBA, are they? Anyway, this is the thing that I got. It's from Ztto. So the idea is to rebuild this as inexpensively as possible, but with stuff that actually works. It's called a BB109 ceramic. And what I can show you with this, so these are ceramic bearings, and one interesting thing, I've read that you can actually, when these wear out, I don't know how long they last, some people say 1,000 kilometers, which isn't far, we'll see. They feel nice and smooth. You can just replace the bearings, so they're quite well sealed, but you can punch the bearing out, and with the bearing press or vice or something, you can push in a new bearing. So I'll see if that's possible later. And the bearings, even ceramic bearings, are fairly cheap to buy, so you don't have to chuck everything away. So on the scales, that comes as 90 grams, what I'm installing. You get a couple of spacers. I guess it depends on your chainset, but I don't need those. You also get a GPX 22mm converter. So this is for 24mm spindle. And you've got a dust shield. So if you look closely, you'll see, well, first of all it says ceramic. I'll take them on trust. You've got a tightening direction, you've got a right, and you've got a left. So you need to put the right, obviously, in the right side, and tighten it in the direction it indicates. And do this by hand to make sure you don't cross thread them. Dust cap's actually sided, that's interesting. And then tighten the other one. You have a dust cap because dirt can come down through the frame, especially with frames that have some holes in where they were used for venting whales, but also through the seat posts. And then I did buy a spanner with the bearings, but I discovered that I already had this tool, which is a Campag tool, so I can use it with my torque wrench, and you want to set that to about 30 Newton meters. And because the threads are the other way around, you can just, I stabilise the frame, and there, it's it's tightened. And this is the crank I bought. It's an aluminium crank, the Senic X, I suppose. Comes in a very nice box this time, and that's very light. So these are aluminium crank arms with a, rather than having holotech type design where the actual crank is hollow, they just have a forging where the back is hollowed out. The actual spindle is steel, which is a lot stronger than the aluminium spindles you get on some of these Chinese cranks. So fairly simple design. And I've got a 4630 chainring, which I'm hoping will work on my frame. So that just bolts on there somehow at some point. Let's see what that weighs. So we're on 0 with the scales. Put that way around. $717 grams. That's a 4630 though. So yeah, the two sprockets are a one-piece unit, and they just bolt on here, so they can be replaced. Feels nice and smooth. Make sure we get everything lined up correctly. And then on the far side, we have to screw in this cap, preload cap. And it's just plastic, so you get a little tool for that. It's about 6 Newton meters, I'd have thought. You could just do it by hand. That's probably about it. Too much maybe? People will be saying it's too stiff, but that feels good. And then you just need to clamp down the opposite crank very gently. I could do this with a torque wrench actually, but difficult to over torque just with a small Allen key. That one. Breaking from the Chinese theme, I'm going to use, I don't remember which levers, I'll show you in a minute, but I actually manage to get a Shimano 105 front and rear mech. I think they were about €35 for the set. It's actually cheaper than taking the Chinese equivalent, and this has a 34 tooth capacity on the rear mech. So for completeness, I'll weigh the 105 rear mech, 227 grams, and the front mech, which is a braze-on, is 97 grams. So I've gone from a 50-36 chainset to a 46-30 chainset, and you can see I had to move the front derailleur down about 1 centimetre. I don't know if it was too high before, but that gives about 3mm. It's not all tightened up yet. 3mm clearance here. What else have I done? The brakes I put on the frame yesterday, and they're Z-Race R600. I put them on the frame yesterday because I wanted to test them against the previous brakes, the Campag Chorus. How much space is under the front brake? So that's a 28mm tyre. You wouldn't get a 32 on there. I think 28 is probably about the safe limit. You've got about, I'll show you. What do you think? 5 millimeters, and on the rear, don't know if you can see that. There's probably more like 10 millimeters on the rear for some reason. A bit more clearance, but yeah, you might get a 30 mil. I've also got some new handlebars and I want to keep the saddle. I'm putting all that onto another bike. So I'm putting it all together more or less because I'll see what I'm missing. I think I might have some cable outers and stuff I need to buy. Oh yeah, the brakes and gear changes. What were they? LTwoo. Here we go. We'll see how they work. They come with the gear cables already threaded, which kind of suggests they're going to be complex to change. But you've got brake cables to put in. So that's front and rear. These are 11 speed. Thumb shift to shift down. Lever to shift up, or the reverse, depending on how you view things in life. What do they weigh? 515 grams the pair, without the brake cables. To tighten the brake levers, you need a 5mm Allen key, and you want a long key because what you need to do, it's quite tricky. There's the I think it's best to go from this room. After a lot of struggling, the secret seems to be to get the Allen key into the bolt with the brake lever not on the handlebars, and then slide it into position. And another thing, this goes for anything on this bike, be very careful with these Chinese nuts and bolts not to over torque them. So be very gentle because you know, it's this Chinesian material and it tends to be a bit softer than say the Shimano parts, and it's very easy to strip threads, or in the case of these brake levers, crack the plastic. So gently does it is the secret. Well, I'm beginning to run out of time a little bit on this build, but I've only got the rear. I've just got the gear adjustments to do, drop the cables down, and I need to fit the rear brake cable and adjust the brakes as well, because they were set up for different wheels when I tested them the other day. So I cut a bit of cable here. I'm using Jaguar for the brakes and Shimano cable for the gears. Yeah, just well, in fact they're Decathlon inners. They're supposed to be low friction, polished, etc. Let's see what they're like. Absolutely recommend having proper cable cutters for this job, and also cutting off the right end. So that's the thing we don't want. And then if you look, it's actually normally pretty easy. These are very good, these levers from LTwoo. You simply open that piece up there, and you see kind of also it's guided internally. So that goes on there. We get this cable, this outer, that goes in there. You may be interested in the weight. Just under 9 kilos. That's with pedals, so normally you'd weigh without pedals so about 400 grams, so we could say about 8.5 kilos. Bike finished. I put the bar tape on. It's not a job I enjoy doing, but anyway, it's done. And I'll just give you an idea of the cost of everything. So the frame came from Planet X in the sale. It cost me £550, 660 euros. Wheels I got second hand, 80 euros. Bottom bracket, 20 euros. Pedals were second hand, 10 euros. So some second hand, trying to keep the cost down. Cable guide underneath, €1 50. I won't tell you about every single thing, but basically the tyres were 38 euros for the pair, so 19 euros each. And I put TPU tubes in, so 5 euros. Chainset is 58 euros. The brakes, 25 euros. Levers, 65 euros. Derailleurs, I didn't go for the LTwoo Derailleurs because I managed to find the Shimano 105 ones in the sale cheaper. Front derailleur was $19.90, rear was $34.90. Plus it has a 34 tooth capacity, so I've got a 30 to 34. And I took it out yesterday. It's almost like a mountain bike. You got trails and things. Anything else important from this? Oh yeah, handlebars. Dead, I got European brand, 25 euros. Stem, 13 euros. Cassette, 49 euros. And including everything, I'll put a detailed list. You'll see the bike was about 1,150 euros, so a bit under £1,000 if you like pounds. Now, in fact, if I got a Shimano 105 group set and really do the calculation, it would have been 1,350 euros. So it's only a €200 difference for going for Chinese parts. Whether it will last as long, we'll see, but it's certainly been an interesting exercise. So that's building up titanium frame bike, 8.5 kilos without the pedals, and under £1,000.